The science of natural health is always changing, and there's been some fascinating trending health studies that have come out over the past few weeks that I want to share with you because I think that they'll greatly improve your health. Hey Wellness Warrior, it's Dr. Zyrowski, and we're going to kick it off first with a study out of South Australia, the University of South Australia, and they did it in partnership with the University of Maine. And what they found in this study is that you can lower your blood pressure by consuming yogurt. Yes, yogurt of all things, and it's pretty interesting. So let's dive into this topic a little bit. Now, the first thing that they point out in this study is that globally, over 1 billion people suffer from hypertension. And this is very dangerous because hypertension is one of those signs you got to watch out for because it leads to cardiovascular disease. And when you look at cardiovascular disease, it's estimated that every 36 seconds in the United States, somebody dies from it, okay? It's one of the leading causes of death. It actually is the leading cause of death in the United States, of people dying prematurely as well. Now, they also point out in this study that in Australia, where this study was conducted, that every 12 minutes, somebody dies of cardiovascular disease, okay? So what that tells us is that in the United States, people are wildly unhealthy. And deep down, we already know this because when it comes to comorbidities and obesity, I mean, the numbers are off the charts in the United States. And so it's something that we have to be aware of. But why is it that yogurt is going to protect us from hypertension and also cardiovascular disease? It's quite interesting. What they point out in this study is that yogurt contains a wide range of micronutrients, including calcium, magnesium, and potassium, which are all very important for regulating your blood pressure. They also point out in this study that it contains a bacteria that promote the release of proteins which lower your blood pressure. And there's two things that we know about this to be true, is that we can always utilize potassium, magnesium, and calcium in order to change our blood pressure to help regulate it better. So you can use that in supplement form. And then also the other thing that we know is that based on new research, the bacteria that is on and within your body, the probiotics you could call them, are involved in every aspect of your life, your health, your hormone health, your brain health, everything. So it doesn't surprise me that it's involved in lowering your blood pressure. The study showed that people with elevated blood pressure, even small amounts of yogurt was associated in lowering the blood pressure, which is pretty interesting because it wasn't really like, dose dependent, like you had to eat a whole tub of yogurt to get your blood pressure down. It was just, hey, if you consume some, it helps. They also say, and for those who consumed yogurt regularly, the results were even stronger, with blood pressure reading nearly 7 points lower than those who did not consume yogurt at all. So if you consume a little bit of yogurt every day, according to this new study out of South Australia in partnership with the University of Maine, you will certainly be able to lower your blood pressure. The next piece of trending news I want to get to is that scientists claim that they have discovered at a molecular level the cause of Alzheimer's. And it's very important when they discover the cause of anything, because when you discover the cause, you certainly can start coming up with a solution on how to solve it. And that's really what I want to talk about because it's so interesting as to what their solution is for this. Out of the University of California, they say that tau proteins are likely the cause of neurofibrillary tangles. Both amyloid plaque and neurofibrillary tangles are critical indicators that doctors use in order to diagnose somebody with Alzheimer's. But the thing that's very interesting about this is that roughly 20% of people have plaque, but they have no signs of dementia. So what it really leads to is that the plaque itself is not the cause, but it's more likely the neurofibrillary tangles that are associated with these proteins. But here's the most interesting thing about all of this, okay? Because we know that obviously we don't want to suffer from dementia in Alzheimer's. We know that it's associated with the overconsumption of sugar for a long period of time and also these neurofibrillary tangles at this point. But what do you do about it? How do you protect yourself? And it's very interesting to see in the research here that they go on to say the human body has a process called autophagy, which clears used and defective proteins from the cells, these bad proteins basically that we talked about. When people age, autophagy slows down. It's not clear why, but the point is that we need to find ways to continue to stimulate this. If a slowdown in autophagy is the underlying cause of this, things that increase it should be beneficial and work to fight against the development of these tangles. And so that's very interesting, because if you follow this channel, we know the tremendous benefits of intermittent fasting daily and doing 24-hour and 3-day fast. But it's interesting to see in the research that as we look at some of the most cutting edge ways that you can protect yourself from Alzheimer's and dementia, it comes down to fasting and stimulating autophagy. Now, this next topic is very important because it pertains to your well-being here and now, and of course, the decisions that you'll make for your health moving forward. There was 137 research studies that affirm naturally acquired immunity to the virus, okay? This is very important. I'm gonna be very careful with the words I use because I don't want the tech overlords to determine that you cannot see this video because I said a certain word. Now, I also, at this point, wanna encourage you to go over to drzee.tv and become a member, where we have censorship-free videos. We also have exclusive videos that will help you improve your health naturally, and we do fun challenges in order to transform your health today. You can become a member at drzee.tv. I'll put a link in the description below. It also helps and supports us in making content just like this. Now, the Brownstone Institute, they did a compilation of research studies on natural immunity because there is, without a doubt, a concerted effort to hide the fact that natural immunity is very powerful. We've known this for many, many years, but yet for some reason, it's being hidden in today's science. What they said when they put together these 137 research studies proving that natural immunity is powerful, evidence shows that naturally acquired immunity is equal to or more robust and superior to the existing shots. Okay, so I highly encourage you to check this article out. It's by the Brownstone Institute. This has come out in the same time there was a very popular podcast that was done with Dr. Peter McAuliffe, who is an incredible individual, very educated, and also has just a complete passion for helping people improve their health and of course save them from the current viral problem that's out there. And he did this podcast with Joe Rogan. You can find it on Spotify. And let me tell you, it is incredible to listen to because, my goodness, when you look at what the Brownstone Institute recently put together on these studies, and you also hear Dr. Peter McAuliffe's take on the current issue, it's unbelievable. I'm telling you, it'll transform the way that you think about everything. So I highly encourage you to check out those 2 resources. Now, this is a really cool topic as well. The first FDA approved eye drops to counter age-related blurry near vision. So what happens is, as you age, typically over the age of 40, you have a hard time reading anything up close. And this is why you have to get reading glasses so that you can actually see things that come close to your eyes. Now, imagine if you could literally take an eyedropper, put a few drops in your eyes, and that all goes away and you had perfect vision. That'd be pretty incredible. Well, according to this article, the first ever eye drop approved by the US Food and Drug Administration to combat the symptoms of presbyopia, and this is basically age-related blurry near vision, is now available by prescription nationwide. And this is really interesting, but I have a few things that I have to say about this. First of all, I don't particularly believe that just because the FDA approves something, it's good. There's thousands and thousands of pharmaceuticals that they approve every year that eventually get taken off the market because they are causing harm to people. So I certainly would not be a first adopter of these eye drops. And quite frankly, I have pretty poor vision. And so this would be something that would be very interesting to me, but I am not going to be anyone who is trying this anytime soon. Now, this prescription, how it works is it constricts the size of your pupils, thereby creating a pinhole effect that increases the depth of focus and improves a person's ability to focus to near objects. Okay, so think of it this way. When you pull something near to your eyes and you have this age-related blurry vision, one of the things you do is you kind of like squint and you try to see it. Well, you're constricting your pupils. Well, the same thing goes even if you're somebody who has poor vision in general, right? And it helps you see whatever that object is. Well, for $79 a month, this is going to help with that age-related near vision. Now, $79 is actually quite a bit of money. Like, I don't know that, for somebody who's struggling with this and you just have a cheap pair of readers and you throw those on here and there, if you're going to be willing to pay $79 a month to put these in your eyes, okay? Now, there was a study and it was done on 750 people and they were age 40 to 55 and it showed that it helped. Now, I will say that 750 people is all that this was tested on. So therefore, this was brought to market with being tested on very few people, meaning that I'd be very skeptical of it, because what they found is that there's no serious adverse events by day 30 in the studies, okay? So it was studied on very few people, in my opinion, and also it was only studied for 30 days. So yes, it helped with their vision, but my goodness, it was only 30 days. These are your eyes. You don't have another set of them if you were to take something that caused severe damage to them. So all I have to say about this is I would be highly skeptical, and I would certainly not use them. Look, if they're on the market for a couple years and they can really improve your quality of life, and there's no long-term effect of using them daily, I would probably be all in. And of course, maybe they bring the price down a little bit. I mean, $80 a month, my goodness. That's on top of every other expense you have in your life. And so I would not be interested in using this until we know for certain that it could not cause harm in the long term, because as I mentioned, you only have one set of eyes. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this one, I think you'll really like this video next.